Welcome back, everybody. Sports Federation TV, of course, talking now about sport in the Western Cape. Now the broadcast partner to the Western Cape Provincial Sports Confederation. We talk about sport in and around the districts, with of course 6 districts in the Western Cape. My name is JP Nordia. I'm standing in tonight for Elton Davids. A little bit earlier on, we spoke about blackball, and still coming up on the show, we'll be talking about ice hockey. There was a recent World Ice Hockey Championships held here in Cape Town. As promised earlier on, and no stranger to Federation TV, Elana Meyer. Hello, Elana.
Hi, JP. How are you?
I'm very good, and this is my first chance to interview. Although I might have interviewed you before on radio, but I think this is definitely my first time on TV. No, you've been here before, though.
Yes. No. I think it was a couple of months ago. Had a really good chat to Elton, so it's fantastic to be back.
Did he speak to you at all in Afrikaans?
I think he tried a little bit.
Okay, ja, ek het nou amper met jou begin Afrikaans gesels, dan maar eintlik daar doen ek dit nou. But so let's talk about this. I mean, let's skip all your history. Everybody knows who you are, the famous Elana Meyer, world champion, South African champion, and every other running event that existed, you've pretty much dominated. Let's get straight into it. You've just launched a new academy out in Stellenbosch, EnduroCAD, which I'm assuming by definition of the name EnduroCAD that it is an endurance academy.
Absolutely. I think the one thing that you haven't got right is we launched 2.5 years ago.
Oh, really?
I think what recently happened is that government came on board, and the Minister of Sport, Minister Marie, handed over a check. That was really fantastic.
Why was that such a big? Why was that so important for you guys? If you've been in existence for 2.5 years. What was the big significance? Was it the money? Was it the recognition? Was it the minister?
I think it's a combination, but obviously, NGOs, NPCs, you always need money.
Yeah.
That's the one thing.
Is EnduroCAD an NGO?
It's a non-profit company.
Okay.
It's founded in 2013. And where it came from is, I was sitting at the Olympics in 2012 in London, and I was astonished by the fact that there was no great performances from any South Africans, beyond 800 meters. And I think traditionally South Africa is a country with a rich history in middle and long distance running.
Bedoel jy dat jy daar so gesit kyk na die soort van die Kenyans en gedink hoekom het ons hierdie selfde tipe?
Absolutely, and it's not like us trying to do something new. I think we've done it in the past. If you look back, in the 80s, 90s, in the years, Matthews Temani, one of the best athletes in the world, Johan Fourie, obviously Josiah Tugwani, Zola, but all world beaters in middle and long distance running, So we've got this rich history in middle distance and long distance running, and still, sitting at the Olympic Games in 2012, watching it, I was just thinking, where's our talent? I know we've got talented runners, and I think certainly, the federation and the structure didn't offer the support that athletes need over the last 2 decades.
Specializing in endurance.
I think for track and field, middle and long distance running, we've got great ultra events in South Africa with the Comrades Marathon and Two Oceans Marathon, but that doesn't help us to create world beaters over the marathon distance.
Well, I was just about to ask you that now. Can you maybe give us an indication? You just used the word ultra. And now we've got so many other different types of events, these 250 kilometer runs and extreme ultras and so on. Just give us the definition of track or shorter distance. At which stage does it become an endurance event? And what is that distance?
So anything over 800 meters, I classify on the track, from a 1500 meters, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000. Those are all middle distance events, and then you move over to, from 10,000 onwards, it's long distance events, and then beyond a marathon, when you go a step over a marathon, you're running an ultra marathon, which is, very popular in South Africa.
Where would you classify 1 kilometer? Because that's like the distance of the block where I run around my house.
I would say.
Do I qualify for endurance?
That moved into the middle distance, so 800 meters, so you're a middle distance specialist. I'm talking to a middle distance specialist here. So what is your time for for that running
it's
around
the
the block.
same as the guy who's doing the ultra marathon.
But do you kick the block underneath your bed, or is it actually a real block?
Yeah, no, I kick the dog. Really. No, I don't kick the dog. My poor dog is at home at the moment and is suffering with joints, which I'm starting to suffer with. Anyway, let me ask you about this. How did you come up? I mean, you've already explained to us that you were overseas. You saw the athletes weren't doing that great. Why Stellenbosch? Where did it originate further than that?
So it really is it's a national academy. Stellenbosch is the home where we operate from. It's called SA Endurance Academy, EnduroCAD. EnduroCAD is the short for SA Endurance Academy. It's really creating a structure to facilitate athletes to develop their middle and long distance running talent. And I think, that's really what we've been lacking for many years. And, so we launched 2013. What we do then is that we invite athletes to come to what we call the EnduroCAD Skills Training and Assessment Camp.
Yeah.
So athletes in the system, athletes can apply, coaches can nominate, communities can nominate, but we invite them to a camp where we go through all the testing. We test them from a physiological perspective, VO2 max, running economy, VAMAVL, so we do a whole battery of testing to see, what is actually the ability of the athlete.
So how do you qualify for the academy or the skill set? How does one...
So we have got a criteria that, it's published on our website.
Yeah.
So if you've got those times, then,
yeah.
we will...
So it's very much about your times. You must have the ability to become...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we also, we are interested in, getting to raw talent, So when a coach from Koekenaap contact me and say, like, I've got this guy, he's really talented. He lives in a shack. He doesn't eat good meals. He hasn't got a pair of running shoes, but I've seen him run.
Yeah.
Then we accommodate applications. Special cases, because obviously that guy hasn't run the times that we would like him to.
Do you get a lot of phone calls from Koekenaap?
We get phone calls from all over South Africa. The nice thing, it's open. And then we invite 20 to 30 athletes to this camp. Where we put them through a whole battery of testing, physiological, but also psychologically. So we want to know from a IQ perspective, is this athlete, have they got the ability to go to university, to a college? Do they need to do an internship? Because the development is really holistic. To see, we want to develop runners with careers post the sporting career, so we want to facilitate.
So when you talk, just give us a little bit more on the academy itself. Like when you say we, tell us about your management team. What if I was coming to your academy, what would I see on the first day? Who would be looking after me? Have you got a team of specialists? Is it one person that guides you? What's the process?
Yeah, so we're a small academy. In terms of a lot of the services we use is outsourced service providers. So we don't have a lot of we've got no employees, so we've got a outsourced coach.
Okay.
So when we do the testing, we worked with outsourced facilities, labs to test the athletes.
Yeah.
We work with outsourced psychologists,
yes.
To do the psychological testing. So we bring in all the experts, on a camp where we provide skills training. We skill up runners, from a nutritional strength training, me as an enterprise, drug free.
Well, let me stop you there. Do you find that a lot of the athletes will arrive and they won't, for example, know that they're running in the wrong shoes, or they're eating badly, or what are the kind of typical things that just shock you? When
I think it's what I've noticed is that there's a lack of sport-specific education. Sort of I grew up as a youngster. I went to athletics camps, since I was like 12 years old. So I was always curious and keen to learn and to know, why do I train this? So I've just found that the current generation, they lack the knowledge. So they run, but they just run.
I mean, I was called by one of my radio colleagues phoned me not so long ago after a well-known local athlete from a farm won an event, and he didn't have any running shoes.
Yeah.
And it begs the question: how would he have done or performed if he had been training in proper running shoes? In fact, this guy was also picking fruit off the trees,
Exactly.
just to stay.
You know, and that's exactly, you know, so when you see the result of a runner, you only see, like, you know, this is what they've been able to produce.
Yeah.
But when you bring the athletes into our testing camp, assessment camp, you know, you've got the ability to actually have a little bit of a look inside, you know. So what is the ability of this athlete?
Yeah.
You know, so when you put them on the treadmill, you know, and you test them, you know, you get an opportunity to sense, you know, where this athlete can go.
Yeah.
You know, so, but you need to, you know, because then obviously proper nutrition is a very important
Yeah.
role. You know, wearing the right equipment is, you know, wearing, you know, running shoes when you run a race on the road is important. You know,
Yeah.
you can't run a marathon without shoes. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it's been done before, but it's really, you know, you're not going to have the longevity of a long career that's, you know, can be fully
So
developed.
you might be winning, but there could be long-term.
Damage, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
you can get away for a race or two, or maybe a season or two.
Yeah.
But you know, so obviously, and then we select out of the group that come in. We select athletes that become part of our satellite group. So we're not a live-in academy. So we've got athletes all across South Africa, you know, and support the athlete where they specifically needs. You know, some athletes don't have a coach. They live in rural KZN.
Yeah.
They've got great talent, but they don't even have a coach. You know, so for an athlete like that, you know, we provide the basic training needs. You know,
Yeah,
you need
yeah.
shoes. Adidas has been a fantastic partner.
Well, I wanted to ask, you know, you mentioned, and just incidentally, I now obviously I've worked out why it is that I can't run around the block. It must be my shoes. You know,
Need some Adidas, Adi Zero.
Might be, yes. So let me ask you this: you mentioned during the break that you've got a couple of corporate
Yeah.
partners, people who are part of the academy, in addition to the funding that you got from the Confederation now. So. Tell us about these sponsors.
Yeah.
Is it kit related? Is it equipment related? Is it oxygen related?
Yeah, you know, so I think
benefactors?
when we started, you know, first of all, you need money to run these camps. You know, it's really expensive because you do high level testing. You know,
Yeah.
you fly athletes, you know, so the camps that we do is like really the backbone of what we do. You know, you need to
Yeah.
assess athletes to see what is the potential, you know, and then put all the processes in place to
Yeah.
support them.
In fact, we've got a picture there. We see a photograph of the check handover. We've got 100,000 rand there
Yeah.
from and there's the minister and of course on the far right is Bennett Bailey, and that's you in the middle, and
And a big
Tutu
smile.
and Henry. Yes, I see you've got a massive smile on your face
Yeah.
there. And so let's just we'll take a look at that in a second. But
You know,
just give us the names of some of the corporates, just so
Yeah.
that we can also thank them for the
Yeah,
support, or
absolutely.
any individuals for that matter
Yes.
that have supported the
You know,
endurance.
so I
Club.
think these, you know, Investec came on board as our founding sponsor partner.
Right.
You know, and they bought into the dream. You know, like, you know, I believe we have got the potential to again win Olympic golds, break world records. But
Yeah.
you need to develop those athletes and support the athletes.
You mentioned
you know,
Adidas. Is Adidas?
Adidas is also one of our founding sponsors. So all the athletes coming into the academy that don't have any kind of, you know, shoe contracts, you know, will get the full support of Adidas. You know, they will get training gear, they will get racing gear. You know, so from a training perspective, you know, they will be looked after from a training and racing perspective in terms of training gear. You know.
Yeah.
Then we've got Virgin Active. You know, athletes need to train in the gym.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah,
where Virgin Active has also been one of our founding partners since the beginning. Vital Health, you need good basic nutrition.
Yeah.
Remgrow and SAS, Stellenbosch
yes,
Academy
I'm sure
of Sport.
I had a feeling
Yeah.
this name was going to come up somewhere along. So Remgrow's, of course,
Yeah, you know, and the
supporting
thing
you
is,
as
it's
well.
you know, you actually need money. You know, so
Yeah.
obviously you need to put shoes on the athletes' feet. You need a gym for the athletes to
Yeah.
train in.
Do you-
but you
do you
can't host a
actively-
camp if you don't have funding.
Do you actively recruit? Do you go out looking, or I mean, how?
For sponsors or athletes?
No, athletes now. Do you actually go around scouting, or are you at that stage now that you're, I mean, you've got a big reputation.
Yeah.
Do the other provinces now know, hang on, there's a specialized endurance academy in Stellenbosch. My athletes are over here. I'm going to phone Elana and I'm going to send him down to.
Absolutely. I think, you know, so we will host our next camp, you know, and people apply online all the time.
Oh,
you know,
really? So you get a lot of incoming
traffic.
traffic.
So we, athletes, you know, you can apply to be selected, you know, and then obviously out of all the applications, we will select about 30 athletes to come into the camp. We will test them and then probably select 10, you know, out of them to go into the satellite academy, you know, and then they get an opportunity to be supported and get the opportunity to, you know, to generally get a chance to race abroad, which obviously, you know, athletes need opportunities to race.
Any
to improve.
big names that you're sitting on there that you think is gonna win the Olympics for us?
You know, definitely not this year. I don't think we've got, you know, we've been in operation for 2.5 years.
I don't mean really that they're going to win the Olympics, but you must
you
have
know,
a couple of
but
kids
I would,
there that
you know, certainly, you know, we've got athletes in the system that I think can be by 2020. You know, we've just, you know, selected a couple of junior athletes from, you know, actually from up country, but, you know, girls with real talent, you know, you know, and actually quite coincidentally is one of the young girls is a family of Matthew Stamani.
Right.
You know, so there's a Beatrice Stamani that's part of the academy. You know, she's still really young. She runs the 800 really fast, and I truly believe by 2020 she could be one of South Africa's stars.
Top runners,
but it's a long, you know, there's no elevator to success. You can't develop distance runners over, you know, over months. You know, you need to put in the years, and I would like to see 2020 that EnduroCAD, you know, have got a couple of athletes in the team.
Yeah. What's next for you guys now?
You know, so our next camp is in end of April. You know, so we will have our next assessment camp where we test athletes. You know, and then soon after that, you know, we will announce the intake, the selected athletes.
Sorry, I just got to ask you: the athletes that come, do they live there? Do they stay there?
No. So that's what I say. You know, so it is a satellite academy.
Okay.
You know, so we don't necessarily move everybody from all around the country. We look at every individual athlete separately, and, you know, put supporting structures in place to support the athlete. You know, so we facilitate athletes into universities.
So it's very virtual.
But then, you know, we get together for training camps and skills training camps. You know, so we continuously try to skill up the athletes, not only from an athletic perspective, but also from you know, from me as an enterprise. You know, we want athletes to have a career post sport.
So for the athletes that are out there that are watching the show now, because Federation TV does reach the rest of the country, we're of course on DSTV on channel 263, but for the rest of the people that are watching tonight and think that they've got a talented star in their province or in Kokonop, what do they do? How do they check? Do I qualify? How can I get into this?
You know, I think, you know, that's the beauty. Is you know, if you believe you've got talent, if your coach, if your parent believe you've got talent, you know, you can go onto our website and actually apply.
Okay.
You know, so coaches can, individuals can, parents can, you know.
You put in your stats?
If you think you've got talent, and obviously we verify it, you know, is it real, is it, you know, but we also, you know, we also look at special cases. You know, maybe the athlete hasn't done the times, but, you know, we've spoken to the coach. We know there's something exciting there.
Extenuating circumstances.
You know, exactly. You know, we will bring the athlete in. You know, so if you believe you've got talent, you can go online. You know, www.endurocad.co.za. There's a place to fill in your application form. Apply now, and, you know, hopefully we will have you at the April edition of the EnduroCAD skills training and assessment camp.
Elana Meyer, thank you very much. I'm now thrilled to find out that EnduroCAD is not actually a battery. So I wasn't sure really for a long time, but I'm sure we're going to see a lot of South Africa's athletes knocking on your door, especially after tonight. Probably, I might actually fill that form in myself and see if you catch me out.
If you've got talent, so what we're absolutely not a battery, but we would like to give the athletes, the long-lasting effect of some good batteries. So,
I'm sure, yes,
so we really want to load and fill the athletes, and it's just I think after 2.5 years, I'm really proud to say that we've achieved great success. Where in 2012 we had 3 women qualifying for the Olympics. This time around for Rio, there's 6 athletes, 6 female athletes that have qualified to go to the Olympics for the marathon. And that in a relative short period of time. So, so well done to all the athletes that responded so well on some support. And I'll check out for your name. Maybe you've got some talent.
No, don't. Just know you select me, and then I've got to come and run. Will you be going with them to the Olympics?
So this year I'll probably not go to the Olympics. I'd really like to see myself, going with a strong team in 2020. Japan holds very good memories for me. I've traveled to Japan 19 times, to race there. So it was really one of my sort of favorite racing destinations.
Great country.
It will be fantastic to go back for the 20th time, and bring back a medal. Through EnduroCAD for South Africa.
That sounds fantastic. Listen, we're looking at this, especially considering the fact that you're an NPO, I think you guys are doing a fantastic job. You're offering a facility that's exactly what we need, because we do need high-performance facilities in South Africa, and we're looking to see who these superstars are that are coming out from under your wings.
No, thank you very much. And, for us, it's been a great privilege to be able to receive some funding from the minister. I think we've been working really hard. We got corporate backing, but it really means a lot in terms of recognizing work, the endorsement and the funding from the government.
Fantastic stuff. Well, we'll be getting a camera out there at some stage and come and see firsthand what you guys are doing out there.
It will be wonderful to see you end of April at the camp.
Thanks for joining us on Federation TV, and we'll see you again soon.
Great, thank you.
There you go. Right, folks, Sports Federation TV, I'm JP Nordia. I'm standing in for Elton Davids tonight. Elana Meyer doing some incredible work out in Stellenbosch with the new EnduroCAD Academy for endurance athletes. So remember, you can go onto the website there, www.endurocad.co.za, and if you think you or one of the athletes in your neighborhood or proximity or under your wings has got the potential to make it into the big leagues, but just needs a little bit more special advice, then EnduroCAD is the academy for you. When we come back from the break, we'll be catching up with the guys from ice hockey. They recently had the Ice Hockey World Championships here at Grand West. We'll be seeing you in a sec.